Now, Prime Minister Scott Morrison is expected to address the cost of living pressures that everyone is under with a one-off cash payment before polling day. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg told The Australian that 10 million Aussies earning up to $126,000 a year will have special cost of living assistance. This is going to be a pre-election budget relief package, and it's to cushion the blow of soaring petrol prices and higher inflation forecasts. Joining me to discuss this, GT Communications Executive Director Gemma Tognini and media writer at The Australian, Sophie Ellsworth. Welcome to you both. Gemma, this is interesting that the federal government chose to go down this path that gives cost of living relief to more families rather than just cutting the fuel excise, which would benefit everyone, but it is not targeted to people earning under 126K a year. Do you think this was the right path to take?
Well, I think the proof will be in the pudding where that's concerned, Sharri. It's really interesting that the Morrison government is saying, without explicitly saying to this cohort of voters, we see you, we understand your financial pain, we understand that that financial pain is pressing and it's imminent and it's daily. I mean, it's one of those times, I'm sure you and your friends are having the same conversation, Sophie and Sharri, about the cost of fuel. Oh my God, I can't believe what I just paid. I think there needs to come a point, and obviously we're in an election cycle, but there needs to come a point where we have a government that comes to the table with the ticket to reform and the ticket to address the deep underlying economic and productivity conditions in Australia that have been left to fester for decade after decade after decade. We haven't had a reforming Prime Minister since Howard. We haven't had a government with the political mandate or the will, whatever you want to call it, to address these underlying issues. And perhaps the toxic nature of the body politic and social media and all of those things that we could probably debate verbatim contribute to that. But the bottom line is it's not going to go away, and continuing to hand out money and continuing to, we say quantitative easing, but we print money, continuing to do that is unsustainable. So what I would like to see is big picture vision from the coalition as it goes into this election period. I don't think we're going to see it from Mr Albanese. He's currently missing in action, as we know anyway. But that's personally what I would like to see.
There's no big vision, no big picture from either party. Neither leader wants to scare anyone off. But Sophie, the Treasurer says that he expects the unemployment rate to fall below 4%. This is quite amazing, but you don't get the sense among Australians that they realise how good we have it when it comes to the economy, how lucky we are. But I also want to, another point on that. There's no pressure at all. No one's talking about addressing spending or cutting back on spending or addressing debt and deficit. This is just a forgotten conversation of elections past.
Well, unfortunately, Sharri, it seems like the federal government hasn't really worried too much about debt. We're heading towards $1 trillion in debt in Australia, which is just phenomenal. Obviously, we've had the pandemic to deal with, but the debt just keeps mounting. Obviously, we're just a couple of weeks away from an election, a couple of months, should I say, and the federal government need to show voters that they really care about the immediate hit pocket pain that people are feeling. And Sharri, petrol prices are one of the most important household expenses. It's something that people feel every week, and they see that money going out of their pockets. I mean, during the pandemic, we had petrol prices at one point under $1 a litre, and now we're well over $2 a litre. It's a huge burden on households, but this mounting debt is something that's going to burden generations for many years to come, Sharri, and I think that's a real concern for people.
Yeah, and climbing.